All right, ladies. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? You're welcome to the third masterclass session, which is on the art and science of marketing. Okay, our facilitator for today is Mr. ID Enang. We have sent you his profile, and someone said, "Is it just one person that has his profile?" So his profile is quite intimidating. Just as a bit of summary, he's been the managing director for Samsung Electronics. He's been the managing director for L'Oreal West Africa. He has worked with Coca-Cola, Guinness, and Cadbury. He's also held executive positions in various advertising practitioners organizations in Nigeria and in West Africa, and indeed in the world. Good afternoon, Mr. ID. We are excited. We are happy. We have been waiting for this day forever. And thank you for honoring our invite, and thank you for coming to share your knowledge with us.
Pleasure, Shay, and thank you, ladies, for having me. And please, I am actually the one feeling very intimidated. And honestly, whatever profile you see, it's all glory to God, and it's in the past. We trust God for a better ending. I'm taking this is within some assumptions. One, that some people would naturally not have had any prior knowledge of marketing. Some do have, and some have in abundance. But at the end of the day, it brings us into the space of what we really do every day, whether it's goods, services, whatever form or shape, marketing is marketing. And so this is going to be a blend of both worlds, inducting some into the world of the marketing fame, and also getting some others to who are there to more or less get themselves acquainted with the game. All right, so let's roll and see how this goes. Indeed, right now, a lot of people are very scared. I mean, reality is that given the pandemic, everybody is really wondering what's going to happen. But I tell you, facing the future is not so difficult, especially if you understand the essence of why and what you are doing. And so getting into the art and science of marketing will allow you face the future a lot better, because what this pandemic has done for me, apart from the deaths that we have recorded across the world, I think the biggest benefit for me is the fact that it has afforded individuals, businesses, and organizations to reset. So there's a reset which tells you that the future cannot be bleak except you want it to. That this future is going to be great, especially for those of us who, as SMEs, actually drive the continent. We drive not just the continent, the world. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the government has not seen the dire need to support SMEs well. But really, the bedrock and the growth of our country and the continent lies solely on small and medium scale entrepreneurs. Now, the Asians have gotten the knack of that, and they're flowing with it. Even in America, 60 to 70% of what is getting that economy running is by honorable people like your good selves. And so facing the future, I want to start on a note to say to you, do not be afraid. Do not see it as bleak. There is certainly a light at the end of the tunnel. The pandemic will go past, but let's equip ourselves and see how we want to morph through this whole process and come out better people. And to that extent, what it tells me is this. We are all at crossroads, frankly. We are all at different crossroads. Even as you're speaking to me now, you all can't be at the same space. You can't be at the same place. So we are all always at different crossroads. Now is one crossroad too many. I mean, apart from the individual piece, you're talking community, you're talking state, you're talking family. Everyone is at one crossroad or the other. But let's bring it back to business. And the big question is, why marketing? I bet you've never understood that there's a shrine of marketing, and there is. It's a shrine. There's what we call the marketing juju. And this cartoon is meant to bring it to life, to let you know that, hey, everything that we do, marketing is business and business is marketing. And it starts by finding out what the customer wants, providing it, and boom, at a profit. Now, if you do not follow that sequence, you probably think you're in business now, but really, if I go with the famous Kotler, it talks about the definition of marketing, very elementary. It says creating demand and fulfilling it at a profit. So when you create, you fulfill at a profit, that whole process is marketing end to end. And so whether it's sales, when you find people front facing, the marketing people front facing, the ones that create the demand at the back end, and in between, you will find supply chain, finance, and HR, everything to enable that fulfillment gets into beer. So you find corporations talk around marketing, not the balance in which a lot of us, especially the bankers, they say, I'm coming to market you. Everybody uses the word loosely, but here you are going through a crash course to let you understand that there's marketing juju and there's a shrine. And for you to get inducted in that shrine, you need to go to some process. That is a separate conversation. But here, it's really about the customer. It's about finding out what he or she wants and being able to deliver it at a profit. I'm emphasizing that, at a profit. So why marketing? Before we now step into the fact that folks like our good selves have a short menu at your disposal. I mean, SMEs don't have all the bells and whistles that the big boys have. I had a rare privilege of working for great companies and who were very marketing-led. Guinness, Coca-Cola, you could name it. L'Oreal, these guys have deep pockets beyond your imagination. However, I look at us sitting here, we're not definitely in the same kind of shoes like them. So at the epicenter where marketing sits, you'll see that the strategy, advertising, branding. Now, internet there is telling you around the entire buzz of social media, etc., the product, and there's research. This is a very short menu. But as I go through this short menu, down the road, you'll find out that everything you have been doing has actually been marketing, but you didn't realize it was. And so as I step into this next terrain, someone is asking you, give me what I want. Who's that somebody? A customer, a consumer, an end user. So why are you in the business you are in? Are you there because you just saw someone do it and you say, I want to do what this person is doing? Or you've been able to locate a particular need or a need state, and you want to create a situation where you can meet that need or fulfill it, and at the same time, you can smile to the bank. So as a customer or consumer, the end user is saying, give me what I want. They're continually speaking, they're talking, they're communicating. But if you're not listening to them, there's no way you can understand what they truly want. You may go up on your own frolic and think that you're doing something, but at the end, no profit, no money, and at the end, what happens? The business goes bust. But the marketing of the future is about the who, the what, the why, and the how. So this is what we put in there within the frame of our title. So we're going to talk about the marketing of the future, but I won't spend a lot of time here because I'll go page by page to show you. And after this, we'll also have further opportunities. If you have questions, you may ask, and then Sheyi will help me manage that. I mean, post. So it's not as if one is holding you back. There's an art and science of marketing, and there's a philosophy of marketing. And if I start from the who of marketing, remember, we talked about the art and science of marketing. We talked about the shrine of marketing, meaning that marketing has its own philosophy, it has its own construct, but I want to summarize it in very simple terms. The who of marketing is about discipline. If you are going to go through the process of being a good businessman, businesswoman, a great entrepreneur, you need a discipline. The marketing discipline is thorough. you cannot afford to skip one part of the chain and expect at the end of the day that you make progress. Many companies are folded because a decision, just one decision, the wrong way, made the entire brand or company go bust. But I've summarized it to say, who is the marketer of the future? Whoever sits in the place of three things. Number one, rebel thinking. So right now we call it disruptions. You must have some bizarre thinking up there. And then you must also have the guts. And then you must add some science. Rebel thinking, guts, and science and discipline is the construct of the who of marketing. So right now, whatever business you are in, you know that you must constantly innovate. Having gone through the process, there's something about the gut feeling. We always talk about the inner feeling, that gut feeling. You must have something that tells you this decision I'm about to take is based on X, Y, Z, particularly experiential. And then the science comes when you are able to amicably have a control environment. At the same time, you are testing out concepts, but in a disciplined format. You don't take all your money and push it into new products. You must be able to have some science about it. That is truly the marketer of the future. And that is, by extension, the business owner of the future. You can't afford to just sitting in a place and say, no, I'm not going to think. I just want to stay where I am. Let me rely on social media. No. You must be daring. You must be able to put some things to the table. And we talk about out of the box. Here it's about no box thinking. As an entrepreneur, you have nothing to lose. Just go for it. That is the who of marketing. As long as you have been able to locate what that individual wants, or you're on that journey to locate it. The next thing is about the what of marketing. And this is very interesting and very important. The what of marketing is around measurement. It's around metrics. Brand metrics. So I'm taking the brand now to mean that your business is a brand. You are a brand. Understand that what makes a great brand, three things make a great brand. Authenticity. I mean, world-class brands. They must be authentic. That is, it must be real. You must be consistent. Okay? It must be authentic. So authenticity, it must be, that's being real, must be consistent, and must have the staying power. There'll come times when you need to buckle down because something has happened. COVID may come now. We are in the COVID period. There are some brands and businesses that are already on the ground. The ability to come up again shows that you're truly a brand and that you have the staying power. So what the what of marketing is around measurement. And it is important to note that it's about diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive tools. So much grammar. We all go to see the doctor. We all, whenever most of you are mothers, you take your kids to the clinic and the doctor is going to ask you questions concerning the child. When last did he eat? When last did she eat? What happened this morning? Did she run a temperature? When was the last time you gave her a bath? When was the last time she ran this? All kinds of questions. Is basically snooping and trying to locate something. That's what we call the diagnostic. Same thing happens in marketing when it comes to your business, when it comes to your brand. There must be some diagnostic. It is from that you begin to have some predictive and prescriptive tools. Now, if I tell you the story of my career, I'll be prescribing a certain incident that happened. I'll be prescribing something to you based on my experience. So marketing allows you sit in a space where, based on my last experience as commercial director in Cadbury, I can say to you that if you are in and you don't have a cooling facility, the chances of your brand surviving, that means I can help you by prescribing some tools, which ultimately will help you. All of those things are things you measure, and it's to help the business owner understand whether the brand is on track and to what extent that brand is on track relative to its positioning. I'm going to come back to positioning at the end of this the day. But three things you must bear in mind, please, when we talk about the world of marketing. Number one, brand awareness. Brand awareness is so key. Your business must be known. It is not enough that you are on Instagram. Yes, it is good. But the question is, how many people can recognize you in the midst of the clutter? A lot of businesses will go under, not because people don't know them, but because competition is now very rife. Now, loyalty is almost negligent or doesn't exist. So who are you? Can I recognize you in this whole melee of products or services or whatever? Brand awareness, it's about recall and recognition. That's one. Number two, it's about brand experience and usage. Any product that is not tracking how often people buy and the quantity is going to be extinct. And this is not a marketing class, but I wish it was. I would have taught you the PITA model, P-I-T-A. The P stands for population, the I stands for incidence, the T stands for transaction, and the A stands for amount. That model automatically tells you how much you can make and how much you can estimate the size of an industry or a business. Population, the incidence of consumption or purchase, the transaction, and then the amount. Transactions is talking about purchase. Total spending. You need to know about spend. You need to also know if people are open to purchase from you in the future. That's why when airlines ask you, or banks, they send you some survey, they are saying to you, will you tell a friend? Are you likely to tell a friend? They want to know if there is some future purchase intent. That in itself, if they have a 9/10, it tells them, wow, yet we are not doing well. It means that we need to lift this lever more than what we've been doing. And most of all, customer satisfaction. So, friends, the world of marketing is around brand experience and usage. It's around customer satisfaction and all of that. The final one is brand imagery. I'm going to pace up a bit because of time, and once I get out of this who, what, and how, it's really the basic, the core of it. The brand image, your business, your person. Think about you. What are those attributes that make you tick, that people say to you, wow, Sheyi, you're brilliant, fantastic, very cool, calm, as a friend. Those are brand attributes. What do customers say about your business? What do they say about what you offer in terms of service? What benefits? What are your strengths? What makes you unique? What makes you favorably disposed to the affection, what I call, and what we call brand love? The love you're getting from the people that are taking part in your service. What exactly do you call it? It tapers into one thing, imagery. At a certain point in time, you need to measure and know what exactly is your image. Another form or shape is reputation. Brand reputation, brand imagery, it is something that you have that you cannot put a value to. On the balance sheet, it gives you what they call goodwill. But I tell you, if you don't do it well, it can actually give you ill will. And that will throw you out of the bank or the business just before you can start. Okay? So we then have the bottom line. I'm going to say to you, knowing how your brand is perceived enables you to course correct as necessary so that your brand or business is better aligned with the objectives you set it. If you don't know, if you do not follow that trajectory, then the chances of getting underneath these things will be very tough. Now, the why of marketing is about the essence. Business people and marketers need the skill to market in context. You must earn and re-earn the social license to operate. What your customers want for you, they want in return attention, they want affection, and you want their cash. If you do not have the why sorted, what is the essence? What are you giving to me? What am I getting from you? What permission are you giving to me to use your product or service? And how much of that attention are you giving to me? If you don't, then you have no right to demand for my cash. It's called social license. Any entrepreneur that doesn't have the social license to operate is a disaster going somewhere to happen. It's just a matter of time. You start the business, friends and family will be your first, off-takers. Oh, well, I'm doing well. I just sold like 20. Maybe your sister gave it to your friend, and the friend of your sister gave it to another friend. And after a while, you just start wondering, what happened? In the first week, I sold 20. First month, I did 50. Now I'm doing like 10, 5. No. You don't have the social license. Because the why, which is the essence, has not been sorted out. Now, if I leave this stage of the art and science of marketing, let's now start getting into the body, because this is the head. We want to get into the body, which is the how. A lot of us are now going into execute. Why are you in the market you are? There must be some form of segmentation. The how of marketing is about segmentation. It's about positioning. It's about how you want to manage your entire portfolio. It is also about having an operational view. Where will I be in 3 years? And how in 3 years do I need how much of investments? Many of us are just thinking of the now. That's why COVID is taking a lot of people out, because they're not futuristic. They've not planned. They've not done a 1-year outlook. They've not done a 3-year outlook. And so because of COVID now, before COVID, they are doing week on week. No. Once you have that wrong footing, it takes you off. What exactly will make you go through this? It's only through renovation and innovation. Remember, I talked about rebel thinking. This is a place. This is a how of marketing, because you must have a segmentation. Who are your audience? Who are you catering for? I'm going to come to that in a greater detail. That automatically begins to tell you where you're going to play. So, in terms of market penetration, in terms of where you are going to develop the market, in terms of where you need to diversify, and in terms of where you need new products. Many people do not understand that they've started their businesses. Okay, here you are. You are currently in Lagos. You need market penetration. Stop thinking about Ogun State. Many of you rush into new markets without having penetrated your place of reserve. Many are sitting down with your present products. It is when you have done a deep penetration, say you find me in 10 stores, in 100 stores, at least you find me in 50, for example, and you are measuring it. In 20 stores, you find me in at least 5. If that is your target, once you achieve it, before you start going into new markets. But in going into new markets, don't swallow everything. Don't look at MedPlus and say MedPlus is every corner. You too start your own. Or So Fresh. They are in, no. It's not done that way. There's a method to the madness, and you need to go through it systematically. This is the how of marketing. It's about the longer view, your segmentation, your portfolio decision, your operational view, and your ability to renovate or innovate that pipeline. With time, new product development comes when you've satisfied the depth, and now you want to grow, make the width happen. Okay, so I'll quickly run out of here into, this is where you are now. This is where you want to be. The question is, how do I get there? As a businesswoman, how do I get to that space? It's nothing other than strategy. Strategy is what makes it happen. If you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a business plan, then you must be smoking something cheap, very cheap, because it will take you out. I mean, glue is very cheap. You don't need to go and look for, just taking a stick is enough. This is it. Without a strategy, your business is just waiting there for someone to take you out. So here you are now. Where do you want to be in the future? Where do you want to be in 3 years? And how do I get there? It's all about strategy. And this is where marketing comes in. Now, this is for everybody, but part that may have been in marketing. Please do not see my poop as poop. You are all mothers. You guys, not poop as in poop. It's an acronym. Okay, so before you kill me, so you need to define your strategy. And please take this, if you want to take a shot of this, and I'll just show you. Overall, your strategy should be guided by its ability to extract value. Listen, if I'm in a relationship with you, we must give each other something. And that exchange is value. It's a measure of value that will determine how much brand love exists, how much love exists. It's the same thing with the consumer. You want to produce something because you've seen he or she has a need, and at the end, he or she will be willing to part with something, cash. But it takes POOP. What is POOP? POOP determines your business model and the choices. Number one, the first P, it's about participation choices. So the question is, where should I participate for the long term? In those product markets, in those segments, in those channels, in those geographies where you have the biggest opportunity, is that where you want to be? That is P number, that's POOP, the first letter in POOP. The O is the offering. What are you offering? What products, what lines, what services the best align with the local needs there? I'm saying local there because many of us are very foreign in our minds and in our heads, but we are not local. Local means that you are looking at your immediate environment where this opportunity lies. Stop building, taking coal to Newcastle. Stop building castles in the air. Now, do you leverage a local manufacturing stable for those of you in manufacturing to make it happen? If you do I leverage what is local around you because of profitability? Can I use this to say, sound a big flag, a red flag? If you are in the business today that you are dependent on imports, on Forex, you are at risk, big time, because government policies hereafter will not be favorable. Foreign exchange will not be favorable. At least you remember what happened in 2015, 2016, into 17. You'll be buying at dollar, buying the dollar, I'm sorry, this is one of the things I can't understand how our government operates. We sell oil, we earn dollars. But when they want to give the states money, they give them naira. What happens to that difference? Nobody has been able to account for it till today. That tells you that the government will always shortchange, or certain people somewhere are definitely milking the entire existence. So you will be giving food to the hyenas. If your business, if you want a profitable and sustainable business and growth, please start now to look inwards. So you don't get into anything called Forex, you don't get into anything called foreign policy and all whatnot, especially at a time like this. So your offering, the more local you can make it happen, the better for you. So if you are one of those that is in Chile, make I run, go China, go buy, come back, it will take a while because you'll be hit for a while. You better start looking inwards. The third, sorry about my numbering, because I reordered it to follow my POOP. That's why it used to be at the last end. Operating choices. Do you have the requisite expertise and infrastructure? That's operating choices. And finally, pricing. What will your pricing strategy be to achieve this whole thing? So POOP speaks to your business model. If you have not thought about it, please go back, start from the beginning. It's not too late. Why are you participating in that place? What are you offering? Can you operate there? What kind of price are you doing? Are you paying? You come here, look on that whole space. Your ability to extract value, is it high? Is it profitable? If it is not, and you are here, and then your action and ability is very high, trust me, you're smoking gas. It's just a matter of time. If you're here, you are working for somebody. Somebody is using all your energy, and at the end of the day, your returns are little. Here, this is, oh, sorry, I can't even use the word. I'm talking to ladies. I wish it were men. I'll be able to talk to them directly. But hey, because you're all ladies, this is the best place to be. It's called the sweet spot, where the value extraction is high in terms of margins, and the ability is also high. There you can make it, you can call it premium, you can call it anything, but please, for your business, when you take all of this together, you will make good money. Anything that gives you, guarantees you, at least in this environment, a 40% margin, you'll be smiling to the bank. Even if COVID comes, you'll survive, because the 40% margin makes you profitable. I mean, minimum. After all, your gross margins are in the 40s. And if your gross margins are in the 60s, please continue. You're doing so well, because by the time you start eroding your margins, before you get to 20, but if you're on 20 or 10% margins here, think about what will happen. You are disadvantaged. Very soon, you'll be out. That's what's happening to a lot of businesses now, unfortunately. Okay, so this is about defining that strategy. And then here, I want to start talking to you about where you should position it. Every one of us, if I go back a bit, you've done your strategy. I mean, look at this aircraft. There's a rocky terrain on the left, there's deep water. Now, a lot of you see opportunities. You see it. This is your plane about to land in that land of opportunity. It's a rocky terrain to your left, it's deep waters to your right. What will guarantee your arrival safely and safe landing is the positioning. Positioning is very, very key. And so I'm taking you back. Again, remember we're talking about the art and science of marketing. It has to do with positioning. Positioning is everything. Positioning is also how your competition is. What can you see? Here is your craft. Here is that sweet spot I talked about. There are other airlines that have been there. What locations have already been taken by other brands? Is anyone else occupying the spot you want? What brands might infringe on your territory? Is it possible to take up a completely new position? Remember the how of marketing. Is it possible to move? You don't have to stay in one place forever and say, now here I want die put. They didn't die put, person they move. Oba, be Oba, now only Oba they stay for one place. Sometimes Oba they go transfer. And if you're from my place in Akwa Ibom, they will say in my local parlance that Abe Ibo was a tonkum, meaning that the medicine man also goes to use the loo. He doesn't sit there to administer to everybody. So why must you die in one place? You can move. It's about positioning, but it takes you, what can you really see? The other thing that it speaks to is your customer. Who do they see as competition? All of this is marketing. You can see that marketing is business and business is marketing. So here again, segmentation comes. You can find that there are families. These are your customers, teenagers, the elderly. This is the marketplace. This is your business. This is your brand. This is your product. Are you for teenagers? Are you for families? There are some people for the elderly. Who is where? But you need to select your sweet spot. Your sweet spot is where you will occupy that gives you great margins and then great ability. Remember that cornerstone that I showed you. Don't be afraid to displease some people in order to gain stronger loyalty, among others. And you must anticipate future needs of your consumer. Speak to customers, speak to consumers in the language that they understand. I beg of you by the mercies of God. These days with social media, most brands have lost the right to talk. But you know what? You can actually empathize with them. A lot of brands today are doing CSR, we are donating to government. What's Shiba? There are better ways you can do things. It's called, I read a book many years ago, I hope it's still there. No Logo by Naomi Klein. If you see it, please, Naomi Klein. Klein is spelled Klein. It's the title of the book is No Logo. In 1994, I must have read this book in the early 90s during my career. It opened my eyes to a lot of things. When you understand what it takes to really be relevant to your consumer and to your customer and be different. So differentiation is key. If we had an open mic now, I would have said, what do you understand by R&D? Many of you are going to tell me research and development. Yes, it's a bedrock of anything. Yes, we all say it. But I will tell you, no, it's relevance and differentiation. So your product that is meant that for the family should not be positioned to speak to teenagers. If it is meant for teenagers, stop talking to papa, mama, grandpa at the same time. But many of us are on social media talking to grandpa, grandma, and at the end of the day, you're wondering, why exactly am I not selling? I will show you why you're not selling, why you're not making profit. It's because you're not speaking to the right person. The summary of everything I've said, and I'm going to repeat for emphasis, you must have a positioning statement. See, many ladies are used to men wooing them. Guys really you see everything I've talked about positioning now. You guys position very well, and men, the guys will start thinking of the raps Men do a lot of positioning statements. They're thinking of how do I catch this babe? So who would likely be your target audience? Imagine some guy, a vulcanizer comes up to you and says, Madam, how far I like you. You will not look and say, oh, what didn't bring that one? Because you can clearly see your target audience. But the man has a positioning statement. He says, I'm looking for that senior chick. It's exactly the same way. It's a game plan. So he looks for everything to do. Let me break it down for you. You need a positioning statement. You need to have a frame of reference where you play. You need to have a point of difference. When you take all of this together, you put it here. Then you must ask yourself, is this believable? Do I have the money or resources to support it? Who are my likely users? Where does my brand fit or my product? What do people like about it? When you take all of this together, you call a positioning statement. Once upon a time, I was a brand manager for Coca-Cola way back in 97 or something. Can I tell you what the positioning statement of Coca-Cola was then? Here, let me try to recite it. For consumers around the world, target audience. Coca-Cola is the beverage that gives deep down refreshment, frame of reference, for the body, mind, and spirit. Because only Coca-Cola produces the unique cola taste, point of difference, that makes it different, better, and special. I repeat, for consumers around the world, audience, Coca-Cola is the beverage that gives deep down refreshment for the body, mind, and spirit, frame of reference, because only Coca-Cola has a unique cola taste, point of difference, that makes it different, better, and special. Wherever in all of this, you can tell who the likely users of Coca, you know where it fits. All Coca-Cola is always asking you, what do people like about me? And that's why all the activities it does is based on what people like about it. You know one thing I can tell you, friends, Coca-Cola has the character of a friend. Why? When you step out of this country and you fly into any country in the world, as you come out of the airport or you get into anywhere, you're going to see a big sign that says Coca-Cola refreshing. Now, even if you don't know anybody there, it's your first time, just that sign alone makes you smile that I have a friend here in Coke. That's the character of the brand. And they built around it, but in that liquid is a lot of trouble. Trouble in the sense that people are not sleeping day and night, like myself, because we want to make sure that these users are happy and that the fit continues. And that's why we support it. If your business is not positioned to have a clear audience, frame of reference, and a point of difference with some level of believability, because you never exhaust this, then you are already sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Because somebody is going to walk away someday and say, I don't know you. When some other person comes, call the competitor, they'll follow the person instantly. But when they know you and they know what you stand for, they won't go anywhere because your delivery is consistent. But you must always ask, what do people think about me? Well, here's a time to pause, friends. What business are you in? Why are you in business? Where do you make the money? How good is your competitive position? All the grammar where they speak, this is not where rubber hit the road. What skills and capabilities underpin your success? Is this a good industry to play in or be in where you are now? Is it the right place? Many are going under some serious hardship now because of COVID. So what do customers think about you, your business, your industry? How do you build long-term value? These are real questions that warrant answers. The answers come when you start setting goals. You must set goals to drive everything around what we have talked about. And this is when it shows me that you understand the what, the why, the how of marketing. You see that all of this comes back to business. Marketing is business, business is marketing. This is just a recap. If you wonder, just need one slide that speaks to everything I've told you. It's about choices, where you're going to play. There must be a point. Who are your priority target consumers? What channels? Who are your customers? There must be a point of alignment. So you must know where to play, positioning. You must know how to win. It's one thing to know where to play. You must know how to win. How do you position your brand, your business, your products to win with the target audience? And how do you develop win-win propositions that will help those people go through what they want to go through? And are you tracking awareness, their buying pattern, and how they are consuming, tracking their behavioral change? If you're not tracking here, it will come and hit you somehow. There's something we call the marketing funnel. The funnel, like you have Vuvuzela, it starts from awareness, very big. But after awareness, people try. And when they try, they adopt it. It becomes a lifestyle. So let me give you an example. Not everybody drinks Coke every day. Not everybody drinks Bonvita every day. But I tell you, there are people that drink daily. They are called daily drinkers. There are weekly drinkers. There are monthly drinkers. And there are never drinkers. I don't drink Coke. I don't drink Bonvita. I don't drink anything. Just leave me alone. Now, your duty is to find out, what can I do to move these nevers to become, here I'm talking consumption, nevers to become monthlies. So you look for what will catch them. That's where marketing comes in. And you have to go into their minds, the battle of the mind, to understand what exactly would somebody that doesn't want to drink Coke or Bonvita or Fanta, sorry, those are the products I'm used to. If you hear me call Pepsi, I can't tell you anything about it because I don't know. I've never drank Pepsi in my life, so I don't know what it tastes like. But if you have, glory to you and glory to Pepsi Cola. But I'm talking about the process. So your business, are people buying your products monthly, weekly, daily? If you're into foods, if you're not, why are they not buying you daily? If they are taking you daily, then frequency is key. Here's where you're going to track. That's how to win. These are the three choices you need to make, and you need to have them here consistently. This is a summary of all that I've said thus far, because I'm now going to step into a different terrain. I mean, it's the same, just for emphasis, same charts. Now, having done all things, you see, we're talking about an aircraft. Marketing is like your typical military. It's absolutely like the military. We've been talking about the Air Force, for instance. We're talking about the aircraft dropping the bombs. But you know, without the infantry, nothing happens. So the question you want to ask yourself is, what makes a good soldier tick? Reckon. How much of your community do you know? How much of your audience do you know? Recognizance. Every good soldier goes for recon. Are we still on? I hope you're hearing me anyway.
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. What makes a good soldier tick? It's warfare. Marketing is warfare. Business is warfare. Many of you are SMEs now. How much of reconnaissance have you done? You are in the shrubs. Does anybody know you are in there? Do you understand everything happening around your terrain? What makes a soldier, a good soldier tick is recon, because he needs to know where the enemy is. He can't just move in. It will become a casualty. It is the basis of this that makes him put together a battle plan. And that battle plan will tell him the territories he needs to take. I don't have much time to take you through this image, but maybe some other time. But really, this is the time you want to go to battle. And this is the time there has to be deployment of troops. Think about your business now. With all that we have been talking about are the soft things. Now we want to get down to brass tacks. Now we want to deploy our resources. There are troops. The money you want to put in into buying the ingredients or the inputs, the money you want to put in to get part of the service, the money you want to put in into logistics, the money you want to, this is all about resource management. And here you are sitting there and you have your staff around you and you have your bankers around you. You have everybody around you. How are you going to deploy if you've not really sat through that process? But if you've gone through the process I showed you, then it's easier for you at this point in time to say, this is how I want to take my troop. This is what I want to do in this area. You go to that area, you go to that area. And when the time comes, friends, let us recoup at point B. And that's why I'm going to land. This probably will be my last slide, if not, if care is taken, because of time. I'll put up a slide here that speaks to operational value drivers. This is very, very essential, and I want every one of you to lend me your ears and your eyes. At the end of the day, as an SME, what are you looking for? You're looking to make money. Remember, you're creating demand, fulfilling it at a profit. It depends on everything you're looking for. Financials make the whole deal possible. Any SME that does not consider financials is smoking something, and it has to be, like I say, very cheap. Hear me well. It all comes down to profitability. And without profitability, you aren't in business. Marketing helps you end the process with profitability. And so what it's saying here, in other words, this chart, I'm again sitting on this assumption that I have different people in the room who I'm going to cross swords with. Your business, you'll be looking at several things. Returns. Please note, revenue generation, very key. Margins, very key. Your tax rate, very key. All of this determine your returns. Your investment in terms of working capital, cash. Any business, a lot of businesses are going under now and after COVID because of cash, working capital. They don't have money. They are going to, some are so leveraged. They don't collect loans. So they, waiting to remain, make bank. You know, make bank just, now. There are some people who the banks are constantly doing vigil for because they are over leveraged. If those guys, the banks may go bust, but you are not in that because you are small, medium, but you may have some solid loans that you're carrying. See, all these small loans they are using to tease you. I don't want to spoil anybody's business. Be careful because you must go through risk management. You see, this chart is my favorite management chart. I've used this chart to manage business right from Coca-Cola to Cadbury to L'Oreal and Samsung. This chart I'm showing you, I've used it to manage several businesses. So I'm bringing it to the table because I just want to show you that if you have nothing, please note all of this. They are very critical, extremely critical. So I'm going to use this as a type and shadow of the rest that will come. So let me assume, so I can run away. Not running from you, just I think I've said so much. Let me try to explain. If you are in the business today and revenue generation is very key, let me not even say it's very key. It is very key, but you may be in different places in terms of your business. These are the drivers that will make revenue generation happen. Market share growth, new products. Remember I talked about new products and market penetration, market development here. The channels and growth. Now, in all of this, what is absolutely critical is for you to look at where you want to be, and I want to give you what to focus on. If you want market share growth, especially at a time like this, please note everything you see me have with red lines are the essentials. Don't get carried away with the black ones. So for market share, all right, Three things make market share come: price, promotions, and advertising. Remember, we talked about awareness. Awareness and conversion is very key. It also means that you must invest in your customer. It's key. It also means that in terms, promotions are not key at this time. They're not key. What is key is to look at your pricing, especially at a time like this, because VFM, value for money, a lot of consumers and customers are going to be looking for value. That does not take away that if you are a premium product or providing premium service, you should stop and come down. No. If you are into premium pricing, stay where you are, but make sure you are delivering value. Remember, I talked about segmentation. This is where your segmentation, or when I talked about POOP, remember, participation, offering, operation, and then pricing. This is where it sits. Then you need to also look at channel margins. If you are providing a service, how many people are in between you and the end user? And if you're working for the public service, and then you have to go through the secretary to the director, the deputy secretary to the assistant secretary of the director, that's a channel. But many business people don't see them as channels because they just see that, now make it all help me move the file. That's not a channel. If the margins are very high, that is what you have to pay. We call it facilitation. Then your business is sitting on, the day they move one person out of that desk, your channel is dead. The new person that comes can just hike the margin. In like manner, if you are a producer, you are producing ching-ching. And before this time, you were distributing ching-ching to only one madam who will help you sell it in a supermarket. And you just realize that madam is not moving because other people have come. Enjoying more margins. So you need to go back and ask yourself, hey, madam, how come you are not selling my ching-ching? She said, it's not me, it's the customer. They are the ones pushing internally because the channel margins. These are operational drivers that would help you. You need to go check and make sure that your channel margins are healthy. The other thing you need to do if you are in products, this is the time you need to look at your order size. With your existing products, order size means if you were selling 12 in a carton, today I'm saying to you, go and reduce it and make it 3x4 or 6x2, because nobody can afford the 12 again. Why? Because what does your customer want? Value, offtake. So they can only go and repackage it, 444, that's your 12. But if you are carrying that whole case, that person will not be able to buy. Order size is very key if you are looking for revenue. Again, your product mix, the stock keeping units, what this says is now they are doing hand sanitizers. Some people do 50 ml, 100 ml, 200 ml. If you have been doing 200 ml, 200 ml, know that there's the local man at the Megad. Those guys cannot afford 200 ml, although it will be better in terms of value, but his money can't reach there. It means that you have to now have 50, 100, and maybe 200. Diversification. Channels. I talked about channels. What's important here, my dear friends? Customer satisfaction, customer management. Please, more than ever before, at the time like this, you must have dedicated staff. Do all you can to make your staff happy because they are the key. If you turn over staff the same way you change your baby's diapers, you're in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. And finally, if you're looking for market growth, you must understand the need state. Let me explain this very well. If the consumers say that it's so hot these days and we need refreshment, refreshment here does not mean they need water. Maybe they need water and sugar, for example. So you can take water, add some sugar to it, you call it glucose, or you give them the glucose and give them water, whatever it is. Let your offering come from what the consumer or end user says he or she wants. A lot of times, it's called insights. Insights come when you are able to merge your information into soluble, it's almost like same prophecy. Someone seeing, out of all of this information I'm seeing that there's something here. I'm seeing something here. Those are insights based on a whole set of information, and that's how it rolls. This is a chart. You can ask questions later, but revenue generation, please, the red points are very key. Now, this is another one to show you, if you are looking to drive working capital, please go back and make sure your business, go and look for prepayment. Let people pay you in advance. Stop or get credit. Credit. Go and reverse your terms and conditions. Credit here. That more or less person, two things you say. Prepayment, okay, give me 60%. That's what prepayment is. Or they give you 120 days. Do you understand what I mean? Not you selling, no. I mean you collecting. You know? Because here, cash flow is key. Another thing that is very key, if you are in business and inventory, you're selling shoes, you're selling bags, selling salt, your quality and your ability to forecast accuracy will determine how you do well with your working capital. And finally, payments made and received in advance. It is all about cash. Cash. Remember, creating demand, fulfilling it at a profit. Last but not the least, I'm going to talk about competitive advantage. Listen, this is the only thing. Barriers to new entry for new entrants to come and harass you. If you do not have brand recognition and you create channel access, then people will come in so easily. Right now, the four drivers are customer power, competition, and market share. But here, when you cover your market well, then you continue to have good market share and coverage. You have a competitive advantage. When you have channel access, you have a competitive advantage. When you offer local preferences and tastes, you have a competitive advantage. Anything short of that is trouble. If you go after all of these other ones, trial, availability, convenience, not for competitive advantage at this time. It is not an operational value driver. So this is a chart I can send to Shay. She'll probably share with all of you. It's just a summary. If you're looking for growth drivers, these are the things you want. If you're looking for efficiency, these are the things you want. You can take a quick, use your cameras and take a shot of it, and it will just give you a sense of what boxes or what's the word now? The levers you need to push to make sure that this comes through. Because it's a tough time. It's going to be a tough time, but it's not a death sentence. It just means that even for me, I'm in the knowledge business now. It's very challenging, very. But hey, guess what? I'm still alive. I'm kicking. By the way, you'll see my name there as Esther. Esther is my boss. So I'm female too. Sorry, don't take that seriously. So my friends, I've finished, but I just want to share something that just came to me a few days ago. I was studying, and it was from PwC. There's a positioning for greatness or having a surge. There are 7 factors. I'm not going to go through these factors, but please, I beg you as an SME, have a strong, coherent, and aligned leadership team. Make sure your team is strong, coherent, and aligned. And you as a leader, you must be top-notch. Number 2, you need a high degree of trust. And number 3, you need access to resources to help you scale up. Your supplier relationships, you must find new ways of delivering value. You must just do all of that, and it starts from your staff. Seriously speaking. These are those 7 things, so you can take, number 1, your willingness to do what others are not doing. This is from PwC. I read this a few days back, and it made so much sense. Number 2 is the courage for you to bet your company and agility. Number 3, do you have the ability to scale up fast? Can you go into some deep understanding of what drives value? You see, all of this, after all I've said, number 5, are you prepared to throw away non-essentials, non-value added? This is where emotions come. No, I've been doing it for 10 years. Guy, kill it. It's not essential. Do you have the energy and stamina to push through challenges? I talked about staying power. I talked about tenacity. And finally, do you have the organizational capability? If you don't, but if you do, these 7 factors are very key because they help you close the gap. And once they help you close the gap, whatever you're looking for is just waiting. And this is it. You need 3 things to make you work: judgment, drive, and influence. JDI, there is no marketer, businessman, businesswoman with judgment. And judgment is the balance between head and the heart. Judgment entails having that rigor, analytical rigor, and making things happen. Tenacity, and you'll influence anybody. Once that is done, you're good. Thank you very much. And I know that we've had to rush through, but I hope it made sense.
Thank you so much, Mr. ID. You know, there are some people that you listen to and you say, I need to listen and watch this video like 4 or 5 times before I even understand a fraction of what he has said. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
This has been quite enlightening. And ladies, you recall that all our facilitators have been saying there's some things, a line that I see that is common amongst all the facilitators. As a business owner, you must know who your customer is and what problem you're solving for your customer. You must understand the value. Remember, I talked about the 4 V's of the 4 values that you add to your customer and the 4 V's of your business model. Don't forget your business model. At the heart of everything that Mr. ID has talked about, if you do not have a well-articulated business model, you will not be able to speak to a lot of the questions that he has, just talked about. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a wonderful session. I would ask just a few questions because Mr. ID has a radio program to rush to. I would ask, okay, so the first set of questions came in from Lara Manua from Nigeria. And she says, I'll take only one of her questions. And she says, if you provide content writing services, how do you break into the market since it's a service and not a commodity that people can see?
Okay, Lara, I think the first thing is who needs content? ID sitting here needs content. I'm going to the radio station right now. I'm going to be talking to people on Lagos Talk. So if you guys can listen and even dial in with your question, it'd be great. Because I'm looking at the, what's the topic again about COVID, the lessons from COVID. And you can dial in and also ask your questions. But yeah, your content writing. So I'm there sitting, going on radio, and I need to dispel a lot of content week in, week out, day in, day out. Now, do you see me as part of your audience? Do you see me as a possible place you can come birth your sheep? No, the answer is no, but you're probably looking at Unilever because you want to write for who? Omo. Now, I want you to reshape that thinking by saying every brand is a person. Whatever you find that you're making a story out of, somebody is willing to consume that story, and you need to know who. The channel at which that person is willing to take it so that you can be the end user. Whenever you hear the words backward integration is nothing other than going back to the beginning. So today, Flour Mills sells flour. And when I speak to some of my friends who are there, and I say to them, how come you don't have an outlet like Mr. Beats? How are you converting it? Because automatically, if you do that, then the content you're selling, you can retail it. In like manner, your content writing service can be retailed. You can go into books. I mean, I have a ghostwriter who has just worked with me on my autobiography. That's specific content writing service. But is really looking at it to say, how can I segment the different archetypes and centers and begin to measure up and see how do I get to this person, how do I get to that person, and more importantly, how do I let people know that I actually offer this service? So there is nothing that is impossible. It's the same. Marketing does not, whenever people talk about service, it's the same. It's a principle. When you apply it, it will. in whatever you do.
Okay, thank you so much. And the next question I'll be taking is from Oluchi Anono, I think also. She's also from Nigeria. She's asking, how can a business owner whose business has a long-run side effect, for instance, like the brand Coca-Cola, how can they manage their marketing strategies when faced with the negative perceptions? For instance, Coke having too much sugar and not good for your health.
Okay. Well, my dear friend, there's a difference between a myth and a fact. Yes, if I remember, 1885 was when Coke came to the table. It's still on the table. There are many brands that have never even gotten off the table or to the table. What am I saying? That myth has always been there where we say 7 cubes of sugar. And I laugh, and I was brand manager Coke. And I want to tell you something. Oh, I wish you were not recording me. So I want to leave out some trade secrets, quote and unquote. A lot of you women drink a lot of juice, but you consume more sugar than what a bottle of Coke gives you. I see women sit down to down one packet of juice and say, no, this is healthy. Story. Because you don't know, you don't know. Now, having said that, Coke goes through a process. Yes, there's sugar in Coke, but it is not the way it has been accentuated. Every individual is a body, has a body, and there's what you call the chemistry. I know of a woman, Mrs. Alabi, she used to be a director in Coke then, and the advertising name, oh, well, Mrs. Alabi will kill me now. It was an advertising agency. Madame drank nothing other than Coke, and she was over 60. She didn't drink water. I know so many other executives who drink only Coke. Now, it's back to knowing what is good for you and for your system. So there's one part that says, what you said, is it a fact? The answer is no. And the other is a myth. Now, to those that the body chemistry would not take that amount of sugar, then you don't need it. That's why there's a word called moderation. And that's why there's a diet. That's why there's a Coke Light. That's why there's some other version to cater for people in that category. It's called a brand extension. You don't have to go with classic Coke. I drink classic Coke regardless. I don't drink Diet Coke. I don't drink, but I drink classic Coke. Come rain, come high water. By the grace of God, God has kept me. I mean, it's divine health. But if I have something that does not go well with the sugar, would I take it? The answer is no. And it's not really about Coke. It's about, can your body break down the sugar? So let's turn the conversation. Then you don't need to go to Coke, then go to water. It's a beverage. So all in all, that's what Coke has sat as a philosophy. Now, as a listening company, I know that Coke has decided, there was a time he had the juice, the Minute Maid company went into stills, went into water, but Classic Coke is still there. Classic Coke might be dropping in sales, yes, because the portfolio of beverages have increased and then consumption will reduce. I mean, it's like 10 in 1,000 when it used to be 10 in 100. Of course, it will scale down a bit, but it's still one of the most profitable top brands in terms of manufacturing. They must be doing something right. And it's just being consistent, being relevant to the consumer and being different from the others. So it doesn't take anything away. Just be relevant and different. You will continue. Just separate the myth from the fact. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. So our next question is from, okay, now I can't pronounce this well, but I think she's from Cameroon. And she says, what strategies can one use to better market in the food processing company?
A food processing company, very good. I tell you, you have to do business to business, B2B. You need to understand the people that require you as an input into their process. So part of that is also teaming up with companies that provide flavor. So, you know, flavors, there are companies that provide flavors. And to say to them, guys, we know we are complements. I provide all of that. You can actually, with your flavors added to ours, we can actually deliver a composite, what's the word now, item to a client. So you can go into JVs, joint ventures. You can also sit back and then sit into the space where you either venture into the space that the people that are using you as input are playing. Let me use a clear example of that. Samsung. Most of the chips that you find in your phones and television used to be produced by Samsung and still produced by Samsung. Samsung used to sell to Apple. Samsung used to sell to Sony. Samsung was more or less 40–50% of all of that, but the body was another brand. Now, the day Samsung decided to go all the way to start producing, many people started feeling uncomfortable. But all along, the input in there has been Samsung. So the point I'm making is, when you wake up as a food processor, you can actually become the food maker. What stops you? It's called taking the next step in the innovation channel. And at the same time, if you don't want to, go by way of JV, look for the other complements, and both of you can team up. You give them, they give you, you form something composite, and then you start looking at how you can extract value, not taking away from your very core. Protect your core and find a way to sell into the guys that need you. Ghana is one beautiful place where a lot of pineapple as a base of making juice. You find many food processing companies in Ghana, because pineapple is so much in there. Now, because pineapple is a base for making any fruit juice, you find if you go to Accra, many of you will be drinking fresh pineapple. It's there in abundance. But guess what? Can somebody just take it from there and develop it into something else? A lot of those companies are selling directly to the end users. They are also selling directly to manufacturers who use it as first road input or ingredient to deliver the final product. So it takes you to do some research, but it's largely business to business. I can also be business to consumer in terms of business model. I hope I answered that question.
Thanks so much. We'll just take 3 short questions.
Okay.
I see a lot of questions on margins. Ladies, let's defer that question to the session we'll be having on revenue and pricing and analytics. I'm sure Wale will do good justice to helping you to understand margins, okay? So I'm not going to take any questions on margins. Okay, so we have someone here asking, how do I stop offering my services for free and begin to charge for it?
Appoint a manager. I used to be in your shoes, you know, because we are in the knowledge economy, and in this country of ours, people like stuff, a lot of free things. And you just continue, you spend time. And one day I just got up and someone said to me, it was actually my wife that said to me, look at all of these things that you're doing. Your friends come, all these guys, you just come to their house and boom, they go. And then you never see them again. Next time, you give them all the ideas. I think when they start paying for the consulting. So I said, yeah, I got it. I'm just doing it for. But until a day, I now told Esther is my boss. I said, Esther, going forward, everybody has to come through you. And you determine what it will be, because really and truly, I'm a consultant. That's what actually I do. And the game changed. And then you now realize that those people that wanted free things, they will fizzle out, and the serious ones will come forward. And that point in time, you can sift between the chaff and the wheat, and then have valuable time to yourself. So don't be bold, don't be shy about demanding. Just get a manager. Direct everybody. Anybody that comes to you, let them meet your manager, and your manager will settle them and talk to them. And they can't even if they come to you directly, send them to the manager. He or she will sort it out. You must charge. Economics defines labor as a mental or physical exactness in exchange for a reward. Many times our rewards are denied because of too much of the heart, and people take advantage of it and manipulate us. So please start charging.
Okay. By the way, Esther is also joining us in this session. She's just been on mute. She's been on quiet. Esther, we recognize you. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I thought I was the one representing her.
No, she has another profile on.
Okay, I saw my name, Esther. That's why I said that.
Esther is his manager, as he says.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you to Esther. Okay, so Yinka from the UK says, please, can we have the slides, especially the value drivers?
Okay, the value drivers. Okay, yes. I'll see what I can do to construct that in a way that will make a lot more sense to you.
Okay.
Like I said, this is typically my operational tool, and I don't want you to get. I'll knock it out in a way that I'll also define each of those things, so it will be a lot simpler. This was just for the visual effects, Yinka. So Sheyi, just give me some time, and Esther will keep me honest on that. Okay?
Yes, sir. I'll follow up with Esther. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just take one more question, and it's from Damilola. I think this is from Nigeria also. She says, what would you advise those who offer luxurious services, e.g. interior designers, to focus on during this COVID-19 season?
Okay, first and foremost, if there's one industry that will go into a lag very temporarily, is that of interior decor, because it will be taken as, I don't know, because we have other people. I would have used the Yoruba proverb. It's like someone that has eaten, that is not eating very well, and now, that is not used to 3-course meal. Typically would get 1 course in a day. All of a sudden has an opportunity to eat, and he says he wants ice cream. And you now say, what I'm saying in essence, this is not the time for ice cream. So a lot of people are going to say interior decor, I beg, relegate it to the bottom. But you need to look at the industry in which you play. That industry tells me that housing is a big factor down the road. And so construction will pick up again very soon. And to that extent, the interior will come back to where it should be. So there'll be a lag, but what I suggest you do, keep your old clients, keep your existing clients, keep showing them new ideas, new things that you think you can do to refresh. When a time like this happens, go back to your previous clients, the ones you knew the ones you worked with 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 6 months ago. Tell them about how, there are new things on the table. They are likely to invite you more than the new guys, the new kids on the block. Okay?
Thank you so much, ID. But guess what, ladies? He's going live by 3 in about 35 minutes from now. You can also continue, join into the show and ask your questions. Please, what's the radio station again? It's
Lagos Talks 91.3 FM.
Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. So ladies, go online and get your radio on. Let's continue this conversation 35 minutes from now. Thank you so much, Mr. ID. It's been an awesome pleasure.
I'll keep the open belt because of this session. I'll try and keep the open belt a lot more so that you guys can call in or send in tweets and whatever. We'll try and answer.
Okay. All right. So also find out the Twitter. What's the Twitter handle for?
My Twitter handle is @IDYENANG.
Okay.
The one for the station is @LagosTalks913.
Okay, at Lagos Talk 9. Okay, Lagos, so ladies, you have it. Thank you so much. Let's allow you get to the station. Thank you and have a safe journey.
Yeah, we're rushing. Thank you so much, Sheyi. Thank you, everyone. So sorry, I need to run. We'll see you on the other side. God bless you.
All right, then. Thank you so much. God bless you too.
Bye. Thank you.